All right, Mr. Robot, how's it going? How's everything?
It's going good. It's everything is changed. We didn't adapt. So now we adapt to this situation, but we didn't expect this situation to be for this coronavirus. No season, no Olympics.
Yeah,
So everything is stopped for now. So now we are waiting. We are practicing some kind of practices. It's not like the regular basis practices and exercise. So we are not trying to prepare. We are just like staying in shape or something like that.
right.
So
Yeah, I've been like catching up on you and seeing like following you on Instagram and saw you have having a great time with family. Having a bike ride with Mrs. Robot and Little Robot in Novi Sad a
yeah.
few days ago, right?
Yeah, of course, of course. Yeah, that's the good thing about this, especially now after the quarantine time, we can go outside, we can do everything. So we are spending, everybody's spending much more time with the family.
Yeah.
So especially for me, who was traveling around the world, and now I became like a new father. Still, my daughter is still not even 1 year old. So now,
Wow.
it's kind of interesting and nice to spend more time with them.
Exactly. Well, that definitely is a nice turning point and definitely a quality time you can spend with your family. So as just a few days ago, we noted like Serbia has confirmed like 12,310 cases of COVID-19, and there are still like 545 active cases. So when was the most serious time, and how did it affect your life?
To be honest, in my life, it didn't affect like for the kind of virus and disease. I don't know even single person who had that.
Okay.
But on the other hand, through the newspapers and through the media and through the even the quarantine time, so we never lived in that kind of situation that we can't go outside the home. So it affected my life a lot. I was taking the mask, everything to the disinfection with hands and everything. But I seriously, in my city, in Novi Sad, we didn't have a lot of cases of corona. And to be honest, I know a lot of people, but I don't know a single one who had that.
Okay.
In some cities near, there is much more cases. So probably in those places it was much more serious. Still, here we was pretty serious about the rules and everything what we should do during this time.
Yeah, yep. Well, it's good to hear like your city and friends around you, no one get affected. Well, that's pretty good to know. And so, when was the first thing you did after the restriction policy was lifted?
Yeah, it was like changing everything. We was in touch with FIBA, then we were 100% sure that season is going to be postponed, especially
Yeah,
because of the situation around the world, and we are like international competition that's
right.
doing competitions all around the world. So now my baby is crying. Maybe you
Oh,
hear.
you need to take care of it.
No, no, no. My wife is also here.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
so the thing is, the situation was like. I'm a little bit now messed, but the
No problem.
situation is the situation was to it was kind of we need to adapt. First, the first option that most affected me was like a lot of people wanted to go to buy to the stores
Yeah.
all the food and everything to prepare, like to prepare themselves for the future times. I didn't I didn't personally did that, but it is like everywhere is a lot of people, a lot of crowd, and you can't even stand near each other, so you are waiting outside, and then
Yeah.
you can't even buy daily things that you need. So that affects me the most, to be honest.
Right. You know what's really happening in China. So basically, Beijing has been going through the second wave of the COVID-19
Yeah, no,
outbreak.
no. I wanted to ask you now. Yeah, like 1 day or 2 days ago, I read that on some through the meat or some through the
Yeah.
seafood, it
Yeah.
came again on. Yeah,
Yeah, somehow the virus is found in the imported salmon and some seafood, and the entire markets have been shut down, and all the restaurants, all those open facilities have been sanitized, and was like completely cleaned out like throughout the entire year, and the level of the alarmness have been risen. From number three into number two, which means the level has been increased, and yeah, so it's pretty crazy because we have no idea like why this virus can be imported through the salmon, and later on the level was raised up, and it's pretty messed up. And I was still gonna ask you, like, if you're not being able to eat meat or fish like for a month, how do you feel?
I don't know. Personally, I don't think that it is going to affect me hugely, but I'm used to eating that, so probably it's going to affect my physical skills and my performance if I need to play after that. But for if I'm looking just food for life for living, I think it will be okay. I
Yeah,
don't. I'm not like.
yeah,
I don't think it's going to affect me. Of course, if somebody asks me what I want to eat, usually I will say meat. But I think if that situation comes, probably we can adapt to eating just
yeah.
vegetables,
It's
fruit.
pretty what It's like what you just described. Like what everyone's like was kind of like fighting for the rest of the food, and a lot of people are still like trying to get oil, all the basic fundamental
Yeah, yeah,
stuff.
all the basic stuff you can't buy, and there was like a lot of jokes about the toilet paper, like
Yeah.
everybody buying toilet paper, so it was like,
I know Trevor was talking about, Trevor, the comedian from Africa, South Africa. Then he was kind of like talk about it in Daily Show, and he says that you are basically quarantining at home, and you actually don't actually need the toilet paper if that was the the final point, right? Because you're in the bathroom, right? You can shower, right? Basically, those are like
right.
pretty funny. But yeah, it's like people fighting for toilet paper. I mean, it's different people fighting for different limited resources. So we have seen also the images that pretty much like around the world, the basketball rims are locked, and some of the rims were even torn down. So is it like happening in Serbia? Like was it happening during the lockdown time?
No, honestly, in Serbia it wasn't like that, but we had like restriction for going to the sport courts
Okay.
for let's say 2 months. But now at this time everything is like open. We can't have an audience on the stages. We can play like basketball with a lot of people. But now we are back to practices, so now everything is kind of normal. Let's say
Oh,
for the practice time, but for the tournament, even in Serbia we had one 3x3 tournament last weekend. That's the first tournament of our national league.
okay.
But we will see what's going to happen now. Also in Serbia, we have like more and more cases, so probably we are going to have some restrictions more.
Yeah, I have seen like you were practicing on the beach in Strand, and like everything is like getting back to normal. I mean, well, like that's really good to hear. So, and we know like you have a lot of friends like in China. Are you guys still in touch?
Yeah, we are kind of touch. Yes, of course, that we should be in China at the moment because we still had a contract for with the CBA to
Oh,
practice with them with the Olympic team, but now because of the coronavirus, everything is stopped. Now even our contract was until Olympics. Now it was expired, so we don't know even when going to be Olympics.
man.
What's going to so everything now is less like we are waiting for everything. So no, we don't know anything. We don't know when season is going to start. We don't know when Olympics are going to be. We don't know even we don't know anything now what's going to even to happen with the sport especially with international sport, how we can travel to the other countries, how we can we go to some country and then if we need to stay for 14 days for a quarantine, then
Yeah.
it's not good. So nobody knows what's going to happen, so we are now waiting and reading news and practicing a little bit just to stay in shape, and that's it.
Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah. Hey, we're gonna talk more about sports, but before that, we just want to care more about you as a person, and both basically, we also want to know like China basically sent over a team of specialists with medical stuff, like face masks and protective suits and ventilators to Serbia in late March. So, did you get any kind of equipment from the local Serbian government?
To be honest, no, but I know that the people who are more at more risk, they get it. So for me, I bought it. We had everything, source supplies, so we bought it. So for me, it was like kind of okay. All the pharmacies was supplied with that. So at the moment, first couple of days was a problematic. After that,
Yeah.
find the solution. So everything we had all the things. So thanks to China, we know over the through the TV and through the media that China helped Serbia at the beginning, especially for to get the all necessary equipment for the people.
Yes, we're definitely are more than willing to help our friend, and you guys, like, having our loyal and the most popular and welcome friend and players in our league as well. So also we want to know, do you know, because you already answered the question, like you don't really know the people who are close to you getting infected, but for those people who are infected, are they covered, I mean, for the bills to kind of for the treatment? Are they covered by the government, or they have to cover on their own?
To be honest, I think in Serbia we have the our I don't know health insurance is going with the country, so I think that most of the people get free that. So I think everybody got free. Nobody paid them. Serbia is like that. So I think everything was free for all the people who had any kind of problem with that. That's my opinion. I'm not 100% sure, but let's say 99% sure that nobody paid anything for
Gotcha.
the
Oh, that's
treatment.
good to hear. Yeah, that definitely lower a lot of pressure. It's not like in the U.S. like everyone
Yeah,
has
in US
more
like
of a.
problematic because they have like that's the industry for them, it's like so now they're in problem of
Yeah.
course, and now with this second thing that is happening to them, and all the problems, US is
Right.
now in two problems at the same time.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Talking about problems, for the George Floyd matters. Just has been passed away for three weeks. So the Black Lives Matter movement was going on around the world. Any protests happening in Serbia?
To be honest, I don't see, but I have some kind of I was looking some statistics, and Serbia is the most unracistic country in the world. So for us, everybody is like really the same. We don't have any kind of issues with that. So for us, that is totally like normal. We don't even looking on that way. We have like all the people are people. So I think in Serbia we are really, really, really good with those kind of things.
Okay.
With literally with everybody on the world, we don't have any kind of issues with the color of the skin. I think everybody is the same, especially the sport people. We are friends with all of them. So it's the kind of for me, it's kind of ridiculous even to talk about that.
Yeah.
Like it's we are losing the point if we are just talking about that. So there is no even subject to talk. That kind of thing that is happening there. It's kind of maybe even historical thing that is like coming from the past. So in Serbia, we never had any kind of issues with those kind of things, and we're not
Understood.
even thinking about those things.
Yeah, so that was kind of like that would be my first like next question, but you already answered it. Like I was trying to ask, is there any like Chinese community was like suffering from criticism or racism because many people would think the virus, the coronavirus, will like spread from China. So
Honestly, to be honest, there is no criticism for sure. I think that even Serbian people love how China react and to help us. The other thing probably is economic thing that I think that at the beginning, Serbian people didn't want to go to the Chinese market. So it's
mm,
not because of they have something against the Chinese people. It's more about they were like scared that they're going to get infected if they go
yeah,
there. So that's the thing that more affect the people. But now I think everything back to normal. So there is a I think huge Chinese community here in Serbia. So everybody is now back. Everything is back to normal, especially here. At the
gotcha.
beginning, maybe first 2 weeks was kind of problematic. 3 weeks, everybody was scared. Oh, maybe we should not go there or something like that. But
Yeah, I see. Like everyone's like now having a free time and being able to walk out like freely. Oh, that's good. That's good. Good to know. As in 2020, this year starts, and LeBron James was always talking about can like actually restart because we know in the beginning of the years, we lost our dear and one of the greatest players, Kobe Bryant. So, what does like his death mean to you? So, I want to hear your
I don't
thoughts.
know. It's like one of my idols for sure.
Yeah.
When I was young, we started to watch basketball, and he was one of the best players. When I was young, I was raised by watching him everywhere. He was everywhere. He was the most popular player, one of the most popular players in the world. So, I feel sorry as a basketball player, as a person,
Yeah.
for his family and the other people who died. It's like, and it's really sad when the young people die that way. Like If we have some kind of natural thing, that's kind of something else. But these kind of accidents are really, really sad and affect a lot of, especially this one, when Kobe Bryant was like the face of the NBA, face of my sport. So, it's kind of affect me a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Have you watched The Last Dance as well?
I watched a couple of first episodes. I didn't watch the whole movie.
Okay, the whole documentary. Well, for the
The whole
last
document. Yeah.
for the
I
last
watched.
two episodes, go ahead, please.
I'm going to do it in the next couple of days, but I didn't watch whole movie, whole
Yeah,
series.
yeah. For the last two episodes, like Michael Jordan was also talking about how he was like regret of not playing for the next year after the disband of the Chicago Bull. So, but yeah, and like these like Michael Jordan was all giving a lot of sentimental and a lot of words to Kobe Bryant. Everyone's like kind of like playing their own tributes towards the greatest player, and so are we. So we kind of like really miss the time that Kobe was around. And 2020, I mean, this year is definitely there's a lot of changes, a lot of turbulences. So yeah, for moving on to the Olympics, if you're going to move, going to make the best 3-on-3 team, regardless, nationalities, who would you pick for the top four players for your own squad? Definitely Stefan Stojačić will be included.
Yeah, of course, of course. But for me, I don't like those kind of questions because we never know who is going to play with him on which way. So in my opinion, I would rather stay with the teams. Because if we are watching the national team competitions, it's like, to be honest, it's on a lower level than the competitions on a pro tour. So honestly, I have that feeling that it's much bigger. It's much stronger competition if you're watching the World Tour than if you're comparing with the World Cup. So especially the final of the World Tour and the final of on the World Cup, it's kind of the final tournament of the World Tour and the World Cup. It's huge difference in the quality of the game. So in my opinion, I will stay with the teams. Maybe I don't want to say some special name. I can say it myself, but I don't want to say for the other players. There is a lot of great players who can be put in the team together. So because in some point you have a player who is not on the highlights, who is not scoring a lot of points, but he's the necessary guy in the team. So you can't have all the players who are going to score at the one team. So I will stay with the teams. Of course, you can probably make one super team, but you need to figure out who you need and which players. So you can't say you have like Disco Domo, Dusan Bulut, and me in the same team. So that's not working. You can have maybe two guys like that who are like playing with the ball and who are creating the game, who are scoring. But even those two players need to work with each other, one with the ball, one without the ball. And so you can't put like four guys who are playing with the ball in the same team. It's not going to work. So that's kind of hard question to ask. Who would I say? Who would I like to put in the team? So for me, I have one guy who I would like to play with. It's like Lasmanis. I think that me and him would play really good because I can play like all-round game and he can also play all-round game. So we can play like make the screens to each other. So I think that can be kind of a good thing.
Gotcha. All right. Like that was a tough question. Even though that was a tough question or a hard question to answer, you did give me a perfect answer. Oh, that's pretty legitimate. And yeah. So do you know who's on the Serbian roster team? For who's on the roster for the Serbian Olympic teams?
So for the Olympic, so as our Olympic committee is saying, there is like a four guys, and that's Dusan Bulut, Majstorovic, Savic, and me. But those four guys like are candidates that are recognized by our federation. But that doesn't mean anything. Like, are we going to be a team? So because now we have like a coach of the national team, and he's choosing from the best players of in Serbia. And in Serbia, you have like really huge amount of great players in 3x3. So It's going to be the decision of the federation. Probably they're going to make some rules, and probably they're going to make some, training camps and everything, and then we are going to choose. But as we know now, we are not even sure that we are going to have Olympics in 2021. So that's
Yeah.
also the question. What's going to happen about that?
Yeah. As you were also talking about, Serbian, like they were having sort of like like competitions or tournaments without spectators, and as you know, CBA is going to pretty much like estimate it to resume its game on June 20th, if like Beijing has the wall control for the second wave of the outbreak. So if there's will be no spectators, if in the future for all the competition tournaments when will be no spectators to watch you playing, how do you feel? Now, how does that like, kind of change
I
your
don't.
play?
I think that in that point, sport is losing. Sport is losing the main thing. Sport is, I like sport, and sport is my kind of profession. It's sport is important thing and everything. But on the other hand, sport should be the attraction for the audience. So if there is no attraction for the audience, there is like. For me, there is no point. I'm looking that as a profession, but honestly, only the sportsmen are looking at the sport as a profession. Everybody else is looking like a business and about the attracting the audience, how the people are going to, to say their emotions on the basketball courts, on the football court. They are going to yell to let their emotions to be free, but then
Yeah.
they come back and be normal. So if there is no audience in the sport, I'm not even sure that there is a huge point of a professional sport, recreative sport for health and to stay healthy, to do sports on the amateur basis for you're in good shape and everything. It's important, but professional sport without the audience, I think it will lose the point.
Yeah, that's why that's all it matters. So, well, fingers crossed. Like hopefully, the world's get stabilized as soon as possible, and we'll have that spectators back in the arena for sure. So, when was the most unforgettable moment or experience for the last season of Sina Elite League 2019? Not we know we have this, like some issues regarding referees, but other than
No, no.
that,
But I would say for me, of course, the final game. It's a bad emotion. It's not. It's kind of sad emotion. But we was leading a lot, and then we lost.
yeah,
There was couple of as you say, some kind of this some points of the game that we can discuss about the referees and everything. But again, the feeling that we lost that game on the way how we lost. It's not a bad emotion. It's normal thing in sport. It's like motivating you more. But that's
right,
that feeling that stays with me for this Cena. But now we are with New York Harlem. Like it's a great competition. Always they beat us even two times on that tournament, so they deserve it. But in that final game, honestly, we was the better team, and at the end, we won the game, and so that's the feeling that stays with me. That's the moment that stays with me from that tournament. But that's normal thing. For the next time, I will want to have my revenge and everything.
yeah.
So that's kind of I respect those guys. They playing great tournament. They playing even great everywhere. They're great players. But from my point of view, I want to win. So it's that moment, that whole game. That I wouldn't say any point of that, but whole game was like stays in my mind even now. I can remember a lot of details for that game.
Wow, look at that. We're definitely looking forward to your revenge. Okay, that would be definitely a very good story to tell, but also, it would be great to have you and your team back in our courts and compete for this year. We are not quite sure for this year's, whether the policy will support. We have that international event, but we'll do our best, and we look forward to having you again. So finally, just the slogan for the SEL 2020, not only for SEL but also for the whole season of Season 3 is trying to claim your territory. So claim your territory also means to beat the virus. So I would kind of like wanted to encourage you to kind of like maybe have some shout out to the fans and to all those players who are coming to play in our tournament and fighting against COVID-19. So you make just you can say, hey, it's, all Season 3 fans, I'm Stefan Stojačić, go claim your territory. in the Senior 3-on-3 basketball tournament. Stay safe, remain social distancing, peace out, something. Just an example. You feel free to do your own.
Okay. Hi, first to all of 3x3 Sina fans. I'm Stefan Stojačić, aka Mr. Robot. I want to tell you to claim your territory and to stay safe and to obey the rules, to stay healthy. Everybody needs to look for themselves, and then you're taking care of all the other people around you if you're caring about yourself. So I wish you all the best and hope to see you soon on the court everywhere around the world.